The role of the carer becomes very important right from the start, from diagnosis right through. And I think it's important to think about, well, what is a carer? And recognising that a carer can take many roles. It doesn't necessarily have to be a spouse or partner. It can be a friend, a work colleague, it can be a parent, it can be a child. And that role is so important to offer the individual psychological support and hope.
When I was diagnosed, I had no clue that we were going to need as much support as we did. Forget the emotions, just on a practical level, it just stopped in my tracks. So there was no time to even prepare for it.
In terms of ongoing support, I do permanently need my husband Terry here to help me in the house. Helping with the vacuuming is a big job, and also helping with hanging the clothes on the line.
When carers hear problems, they really want to try and make it better. And listening is probably the best medicine that they can actually give.
When Lisa was having chemo and even post-surgery, she didn't have very much energy, but that was okay because we did other things together. So we just have cups of tea and we chat and our kids hang out together.
My advice to anybody else who's supporting a loved one, a friend through cancer is just don't be afraid to ask how they are. It's okay to talk about it. It's okay that you feel pretty crappy that they're going through this. And it's okay to say that to them because that empathy is important as well.
My brother and I, we helped out with meals where we could and where we could take mum to appointments. I'm a teacher, so in the school holidays I went to treatments and I did what I could.
We organised meals on wheels and things like that. We tried to do everything to minimise the stress that was going on at the time. I'd recommend to people to contact all the support mechanisms that are available and make use of them because that's what they're there for.
I was only 11, so it was hard to be there, I guess, emotionally for Mum because I didn't fully understand what was going on. So it was the little things like noticing that Mum was unwell or Mum was in bed early and being the eldest of 3, helping my younger brothers get their school bags ready for the next day or lay out their uniforms or pack their lunch boxes.
I knew that for Lisa, the big concern was the children, and I really understood that. I offered to pick up her kids from school every day. I understood just how frightened a parent can be for their children.
I used to attend all the appointments that Cherry had with her surgeon and her breast cancer nurse.
Not leaving the onus on the sick person or the immediate family who's trying to deal with it all. If there's a list of what can be done, say, which of these would you like me to do? Because I'm going to do at least one of them.
Many carers describe feelings of helplessness. The cancer experience is happening to the person they care for, not to them. And what the literature tells us is they're likely to have higher levels of depression and anxiety than the person who has cancer. This is because they're not in control. It's not happening to them, and they therefore experience some psychological issues because of that.
It was lonely because I didn't know what sort of assistance I needed. I sort of needed emotional support myself because I'm doing my best to give emotional support to Lisa, and that was taking it out of me.
I guess it was quite devastating initially because although we all know how prevalent breast cancer is, until it's happening in your immediate family, it's quite a shock.
Thinking about the emotional responses of individuals who care for someone who has a breast cancer diagnosis, these include things like anxiety and depression, but also cover a whole range of other emotional responses, including guilt. Guilt's an important one to think about because often the person who is providing care feels guilty that they either can't do more to help or guilty that in fact they're not the one who has breast cancer themselves.
In hindsight, I guess I wish that I was able to do more at the time, but I realise now that I did the best that I could do in the time frame and in the circumstances. I had my own family, I worked full time, And I think all anyone can ever do is to provide support and just do the best that they can do.
You do look back and you see areas where you could have done better, and you try not to sort of chastise yourself too much about that afterwards. I think that's important.
The diagnosis of breast cancer can strengthen relationships, and that's an important thing to carry forward in many relationships, that the experiences that have been shared through the breast cancer experience are experiences that are going to draw people together for the rest of their lives.